Hi everyone, I am Brittany the Cosmic Lunar Soul. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back to all my subscribers. Today we are doing a unboxing of the Everyday Witch's Familiar Oracle. This is by Elizabeth Alba and Deborah Blake. I'm sorry. It's by Deborah Blake and art by Elizabeth Alba, and this is published by Llewellyn. So this might look a little familiar to you because if you've seen my other Everyday Witch unboxings, well, this goes with that. Okay, let's get into it. So this retails for $24.99 US, and again, this is published by Llewellyn Publishing. I'm super excited to try this out. So let's look at the box. The box actually is exactly like the Everyday Witch Oracle. So if you've seen that flip through, you will most likely have seen the box, but we can just, if you haven't seen that, the back has all of the information about the deck. It shows some sample cards. It explains that it's a 40 card deck with the guidebook. It's the same amount of cards as the Everyday Witch Oracle, so this is actually just overall a very familiar setup. So the box is a standard 2-part box, and it has these thumb holes, which makes it very easy to pull out. So let me go ahead and open it up. The box came completely wrapped in cellophane, but I took that off ahead of time. So the inside of the box is just pretty standard. Can you guys see that print a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. You can see that. So very sturdy, just like the other one, very sturdy box, but with these 2-part decks, it's very snug. It does have a nice little suction in there. Can you hear it? So it has a nice little suction that's happening, which would make this really good to travel. But when you have these 2-part decks, I do always just suggest putting like an elastic around it just in case. You never know, right? So let's go ahead and look at the guidebook. Alrighty, here is the guidebook. Quick flip through. You can see that it is fully colored and illustrated. This is actually surprising because the Everyday Witch Oracle was not fully illustrated and it was not in color. So this was a happy surprise. This reminds me much more of the big book from the Everyday Witch Tarot, which was illustrated and colored all throughout. So we have Wisdom of the Familiars. We have about the author, about the artist. It starts off in the same way. It's just that there's like photos of them now, and the little titles here are colored. And then we get into the actual guidebook, and you can see some artwork. So in the tarot and in the oracle, the previous ones, the animals in the deck were cats. So I'm eager to see how this kind of fits the theme, but maybe makes it a little different. So we have our table of contents. You know, your girl loves the table of contents. And then I love how they broke this up. If you don't remember, the Everyday Witch Oracle was broken up into the elements, very, very similar to tarot. This one is interesting. Okay, I was gonna say this one's broken up into the 4 elements, but there are only 9, and I know that it's a 40 card deck, so I was like, well, where's the other 4? And they actually introduced the element, I'll say, of spirit. So yeah, looking forward to that. So we have our introduction here, the standard how to use the deck, and then it's about the cards. So it explains the different suits. I'll call them suits from now on. So earth is grounding, practical action, and strength. Air is thought, communication, lightness, and wisdom. Fire is passion, emotion, flexibility, confidence. Water is change, movement, metamorphosis. And then it goes into spirit here. It doesn't actually explain spirit. which I kind of wish it did, just because I love hearing the succinct thoughts of the author on those, or creator, I should say. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Kind of wish they had done that, but it's also not the end of the world. So here we get into familiars, guides, and protectors. And this is just explaining a little bit of the backstory and their role in our lives. I'm not sure that I agree with the author's understanding of what a familiar is. Um, they're using the word familiar to actually mean magical pet or magical animal, and that's not what a familiar is. Overall, the idea of this deck is to inspire you to choose particular cards to focus on during magical work or meditation. It explains that familiars are animals that help witches by boosting their power as they do ritual or other magical tasks. Usually, a familiar will have a particularly close relationship with their witch and often can be found nearby even when there is nothing magical going on. And then she goes on to explain my own familiar, Magic the Cat, supervised all my activities when she was still with me. I'm quite certain she helped me with the writing too. Whenever my group held ritual in my living room, she would come in, greet everyone, walk around the circle space, and then sit under the altar until we were done. That's the epitome of a magical pet. And the difference is that a familiar is a spirit you're intentionally calling on to help you. Now, there is, I mean, I'm not saying my purview of that is the only perspective by any means. It's just that this is the Hollywood explanation of what a familiar is. And I think that while everybody can have their own personal meanings for things, it's still important to at least educate from a traditional standpoint. Sorry, trying to walk the nuanced line of not telling people what things are, I guess, in a sense, like people can say whatever they want, but in terms of teaching people, I think that it's a little disingenuous to not explain from my perspective. Also, I've noticed that people get very defensive if you tell them their pet is magical pet, not a familiar, because they don't understand the difference. And I mean, it's just another one of the fun consequences of how witchcraft and the occult have been portrayed in Hollywood. So we get into sample spreads. You know, your girl loves some sample spreads. It gives some one card examples. Oh, it gives a lot. It gives 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like how there's one that's just for fun. And it says you don't necessarily need to have a purpose or even a question to enjoy Oracle cards. Simply pull one and see what shows up. I love that. I think sometimes people take themselves too seriously and then end up in this like cycle of feeling like they need to do their practice in a certain way or else they're wrong. And it's like putting unneeded pressure on themselves. Like this isn't religion, right? Relax. Okay, 2 cards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have 3 cards, which has like past, present, future. I like how there's one for general information. I like that there is an explanation of how to sort of do a general reading. And then we have the 4 card spread, which is the elements, which is really funny because this deck is broken up into 5 instead of the traditional 4 with the inclusion of spirits. I almost wish they had the 5 card spread that was like the elements plus or something. Missed opportunity, but nothing inherently like awful about that. So then we get into the cards. It's broken up into earth, air, fire, water, which I really like. As an earth girly, I like that earth is first. Usually it's last. We're always last in the race for some reason. But the sections, you can kind of see that. They are divided by color. So all of the earth sections are green. All of the air sections are blue, and then all of the, what was this, fire sections are orange actually instead of red, and then the water is a light blue. So spirit is this kind of pale blue, almost grayish kind of blue. And as you can see, each card has a single page devoted to it. So you have the picture over here, you have the number. The number is dependent on the suit. So each suit, the numbers restart 1 through 9, and then the spirit suit is 1 through 4. So it has the number in reference to that suit, the name of the card, and then it gives like a little spiel about the card, and then for divination usage, and then message usage. So that is how all of the sections are laid out. So if we go to the end, we have our conclusion. It has some more cards. I just love that this is illustrated. It's very well done, and it's no more or less affordable than any of the other decks. I mean, obviously it's newer, so it is a little more pricey, whereas the other ones tend to go on sale more often, but that's the nature of when something new comes out. I'm sure, like, give it like a month or 3. This is going to start to level out and be on sale just as frequently as the other ones. Okay, so the cards are still glossy. It doesn't feel as glossy as its predecessors. And that could just be me losing my mind a little bit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the flip through, and then we'll talk about the cards and the artwork. So one of the things I want to do at the very end is show you the entire collection. I want to show you these cards in comparison to the Everyday Witch Oracle, and then along with the tarot, and then pull some cards so you can kind of see how they all fit together. Obviously, this is like a true cohesive collection, so it's obviously going to look good together, but at least you can kind of get an idea of maybe which one, if you're debating on which deck you want to get, you can do that. So the cards are still glossy. They will fit right in. I will say these feel less glossy than its predecessors. Maybe that's just me, but we'll look at that in the comparison. The backs of the cards are just absolutely gorgeous. It fits the theme. The backs are different between all 3 decks, and this one, it is not reversible. So the image is not reversible if you like to do reversals in Oracle. The deck's not built that way, but they're your cards and you can do whatever you want. So on the cards, it has the suit. It has the number in reference to that suit and the name of the card. And then, of course, borderless, beautiful borderless images. I know it's really common for people to not like borders. I'll say the cardstock is probably standard. I'll have to compare that in the end. These feel thin, but I also haven't used my Everyday Witch Tarot in a while, so maybe it's just me. But let's just see how they shuffle. I feel like so these are larger than standard Oracle. Oracle doesn't have a standard, but when you think of standards amongst the main publishing houses, these are larger. So it can make, if you have small hands like me, like if you look, the cards are kind of like, can't fit my hands around them very well. It makes it a little harder to shuffle, but it is doable because the nice gloss just makes it really smooth. But if they are too hard to shuffle that way, you can do them long way and it still works fairly well. This is uncomfortable to me just because of the way that I have to move my hand. You can see I'm so clumsy with it. But I will say it shuffles like a dream. Let's see if I can side shuffle these. Let's see. Let me see. Because they do bend really well. Yes, but I wouldn't bridge it. So you can see already like doing that gives it a little bit of a bend. But because they're thinner, they'll bend right back pretty well. Yeah. And I will say, even with my slick background, they fan beautifully. So for like social media aesthetics, perfect. But I will say they're hard to use online when you're doing that because of the look, the lights. Let me actually show you with the actual face of the card. It can be hard for viewers to see depending how your lights are set up. So, you know, mine are a little off to the side, so it's fine depending where my cards are sitting. So you can see the difference. If you're not on social media and don't use cards like that, it literally, that's probably irrelevant to you. But I will say the artwork is just as beautiful and vibrant as the previous decks. You can just see the beautiful pops of color, and it still has that same exact vibe across all three decks. And of course we have the same artist, but I mean that to say that nothing has really changed. I mean that in a good way. So everything's going to feel really cohesive if that's why you want to get this deck. So let me pull out the Oracle deck real quick, the Everyday Witch Oracle, and we can kind of start looking at the differences. One of the things that I like about the Everyday Witch Oracle that the Familiars Oracle isn't doing is that there are actual keywords on the cards. So this one is Affirmation for Growth. It's the title and the keyword, actually, I guess, to put it better. I do wish that it's a little obvious, right? With some of these, it's quite obvious where fire is, water is, and earth is. But I do wish that the Everyday Witch Oracle had actually included the suit name. I just truly, why do I have reversals in here? But, oh, maybe these were the ones that were reversed. I do just wish that, you know, the original Oracle had that. So that's one of the things that I really like about the fact that they included that in the new deck. And I wonder if that was general feedback. You'll have to let me know, guys. Do you like when the cards have the numbers and the suits on them if an Oracle is split up that way? I personally do. It makes it easier to find in the guidebook as well. Just because if it's numbered and it's in numerical, if it's in numerical order, then it's easier to find. I think these might actually be alphabetical in the guidebook, so it is what it is. But let's pull out the tarot and then we'll look at the backs of the cards all together. Okay, so I said before that I felt like the cardstock was maybe a little different in the newer one, and it is. It's definitely a little thinner in the new one versus the old one. Marginally, but noticeably. I think it's actually the cardstock of the tarot, in my opinion. So we have the tarot. You can see the tarot backs are obviously a little much more simpler. I'm gonna move them over so you can hopefully get out of that glare that I was talking about. So obviously much simpler. The oracle very similar to each other, but you can see this is introducing these other animals, whereas this one's all cats, very reminiscent of the tarot. Neither, I say neither, but none of the decks have reversible backs. If that bothers you, then that's just something to take note of. But I will say they all have that like really slick coating, that slick glossiness about them. So they're all like high gloss. You can see that here. Yeah, there we go. So let me just, I think what I'll do is just pull some cards from each deck and we'll just kind of look at how they look together. These won't be like readings that necessarily mean anything. It's just so we can see together as a group what the pairings look like. So let's pull this card. This is going to be the Everyday Witch Oracle, the original one, the original oracle rather, of this collection. And then this is the Everyday Witch Familiar. And I lied. I said I thought cats were in every single card of this. They're not, apparently. Just got my answer there. But they are in every single card in the Everyday Witch Tarot. Obviously, you can see that the oracles are the same size as each other. I think that's might be the standard Llewellyn size. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone in the comments. So they fit very well together. And then just you can already see the cohesiveness of the art, and look as we go along, even just bringing that in, you can see a lot of how the artwork is just very, very seamless. I'm very excited to use this. I don't know how or if I will use this any differently than I will or the new deck rather than I have the Everyday Witch Oracle. It's just like an oracle card to support my tarot. But you guys will have to let me know how you would use them differently if you would. Give me some ideas. Comment below. Okay, guys, this was the flip through of the Everyday Witch Familiars Oracle. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.